I tried Broken Jaw's 50 art exercises, and it was a nightmare. Disclaimer, do not do all 50 exercises at once. Rather, the recommended method is to go straight to exercise 49 and 50, realize what your weak points are, and work on the exercises corresponding to that. However, I was too stupid to realize that that advice was at the end of Broken Jaw's video, which eventually led to me do literal gambling in order to find some source of dopamine at around exercise 30. Were these exercises worth it? Oh, definitely yes, but just try not to burn yourself out while learning something you like. Level 1, Mechanics, or as I like to call it, Lines, because that's all I'm gonna draw for a while. The goal here is to gain control of your hands, and I was immediately humbled because I couldn't draw 8 straight lines in a row apparently. I'm mostly a self-taught artist, and it was interesting to see how being self-taught can lead to you discarding the very basics if you're not careful enough. I was still full of life at this point, and since line art was something everyone kept saying I needed to improve, I made sure to spend a lot of time and effort before moving on. Looking back, I should have spent a bit more time in exercise 3, coin flips, and I'm probably gonna do these even after the release of this video. Level 2, Visual Coordination, because you want to draw what you see, not what you think you see. I like to think that I didn't have too much trouble here except for exercise 10, one line drawing, but I blame that on me not eating anything but a single cafe bagel slice for the entire day. I'm guessing I didn't have too much trouble here because it was similar to what I normally do for art studies, where I draw something with a reference. However, something I normally don't do for art studies and therefore I suck at. Level 3, Form Construction, basically learn to think in 3D. You can finally see some neural activity in my brain as my struggle becomes noticeable. It's pretty funny to think that a guy with over 400 plus hours in Blender has trouble thinking in 3 dimensions, especially when considering one of my art teachers legit told me that I see more talent in 3D than 2D. You know that thing when you physically feel tired after only studying despite sitting in a chair like a shrimp for 3 hours? If you have, congratulations! That means your brain is either effectively absorbing knowledge, or you need to take a break ASAP. And level 3 was the point I started to feel like that. That's good news since I'm seeing some serious progress, but bad news is I got like 35 more exercises to go. Dear God will help me, what have I done? Level 4, Form Manipulation. Not everything in the world is made of perfect cubes and cylinders, and here I'm basically learning to draw in different geometrical shapes. After this, I'll be able to draw things like cars with ease. But maybe I should have paid more attention when those YouTube tutorials were explaining perspective, since I apparently kept getting it wrong somehow. Being self-taught is great and all, but it's moments like these when you realize you could have really used someone right next to you telling you you're doing this specific part wrong, since the only other option is to keep pushing yourself to your limit until you find out for yourself. I did, however, start to get the hang of it around exercise 19. Thank God I didn't waste another 4 years of my life wondering what the f wrong with my art. Level 5, Form Interpretation. Now, I was supposed to learn how to draw organic shapes and that not everything is made up of stuff you see in your math homework, but around this point I was starting to get burned out and I didn't really study as effectively as I wanted to. If I were to go back, I'd take more time and effort into studying 22 softening and 23 figure contours, and I'm most likely going to do them in my personal time again off camera once I finish editing this damn video. Level 6, Rendering. Besides the fact that I'm not only burned out but also sleep deprived at this point, I'm having trouble learning anything useful from level 6. Maybe because for the other subjects I had some idea of what I'm supposed to do, but I've never properly learned rendering and basically winging it. The entirety of level 6 is just me being confused if I'm doing this right, and I'm most likely going to make a separate video of me learning rendering specifically. I do, however, love how this little peanut ended up looking. Okay, at this point I'm basically a zombie drawing my life away while half asleep. I really need to keep pushing forward if I want to finish my deadlines on time, but in the end, I decided the 3-day break was going to help with both my productivity and the quality of my studies. I think now is a good time to say that this entire video took roughly 50 hours to make, not including editing hours, so if you like this video, you should consider subscribing. I'm currently documenting my art growth process on YouTube, and I also plan to do cool art projects in the future, so if you're interested, make sure to hit the notification bell. Okay, rant about how I could have almost finished an entire Persona game aside, level 7 was where the exercises start to get interesting. If you're already familiar with the basics, I'm assuming you'll find something to learn starting here. I was especially fond of exercise 32, where it helped me see more depth in simple line art drawings. Level 8, Spatial Awareness. Dear God, I really think I just suck thinking in 3 dimensions. You can clearly see me struggling in a lot of these moments, but I'm at least glad to know that that struggle is what leads to more effective learning. I really do think that these were some of the most valuable studies I've done in recent times, especially number 37, Intuitive Boxes, where you draw 2 boxes and try to see how close you've gotten to accurately drawing them. You can try this yourself and you'll be surprised how hard it is drawing 2 boxes in accurate perspective without any guidelines actually is. Level 9, Visual Library, because in Broken Jaw's own words, in order to draw from imagination, you have to be able to memorize a lot of stuff. As here, I've realized something important. I just don't suck at drawing in 3D in perspective. I also suck at imagining in 3D in perspective. We might draw in a 2D world, i.e. a piece of paper or a canvas, but we are still trying to convey a 3D image, and apparently I can't do that properly. I think the best way I can actually improve on this is to do exercise 45, Magic Observation, as many times as I can until I gain the skill of imagining in 3D. But once again, I was very sleep deprived and decided that this was future me's problems to deal with. And I just booted off some of my favorite games before quickly finishing my quota for the day. Level 10, Imagination. It's basically just drawing normally here, but just making sure you properly learn everything while doing it. And I think I've seen some legit progress within the past 3 weeks or so. I always couldn't help but notice my art felt somewhat flat and messy, but turns out I just didn't do my homework and need to work on my basics. Haha, if only I did that 8 years ago when I was an immature Chunibyo kid with a big ass ego. At least it's better late than never, am I right? Yeah. If there's one thing I've learned from this sleep depriving and caffeine injecting experience, it's that something you thought you were already good at might actually be the one thing that's holding you back this entire time. And it's important to stay humble and never stop improving. You got all of that, kiddo? Fuck you, old man. You're just an unemployed loser on the internet. Let me go, goddammit!